फ़ोन की वायर हमने कनेक्ट किया इस डिवाइस में।
And this is where people come up, they've got their ticket, they might have a light by here or a glass of champagne and meet their friends before they go to the theatre. There's also a great place to show you a little bit about the construction work. If you look up and see these concrete ribs, they're everywhere. They hold up the sails or the shells, some people call them. And we actually manufacture these out on the forecourt. Big open air factory out there. We brought them in, we lifted them up with tower cranes and slotted them together just like Lego. Does anybody know what country invented Lego? Denmark. Denmark, exactly right. Because our original architect was from Denmark, which we'll tell you about when we show the video. Now down the centre of these concrete ribs are pre-tension steel cables. They go right under the building, holds the whole building up so it doesn't fall flat. And the best thing is, of course, we don't need to have any columns in our theatres, because columns are the curse of a theatre. Now, if you look over here, you can see coffee shop or cafes and things over there. That's because at the moment, even tonight, we've got an opera out there on a pontoon, Madame Butterfly in English, and it's really fantastic to sit under the stars, see a lovely opera, and if it gets a bit boring, you can look at the opera house with the bridge behind, because it's a fabulous location. So we use outside, inside, and on the harbour even. Amazing. Unlike most opera theatres around the world, if you've been to them, they usually only have one theatre, okay? This one we've got 6 plus at the Creative Centre as well. So we've got 7 performing arts spaces, because this was built in the 20th century. Not like the one in Naples, the first one that was built back in the 1700s. Very elaborate, very different than this. And most of the ones that you go into, if you're going to one in Paris or Vienna or London or something, you'll find that they're quite different to look at because they were built in a different era. Okay? Let's go inside. This way, please. We'll stop and look at this lady in the portrait. Now this lady was a very famous opera singer between 1960 and 1990. She sang Covent Garden in London, La Scala in Italy, the Metropolitan in New York, and of course the Sydney Opera House. She was a Sydney lady born and bred. Her name is Joan Sutherland. She was actually a Dame Joan, but however she said, don't call me Dame Joan, just call me Joan, because she was a dinky-die Australian. This way, please. Nowadays, marketing department does like printing anything. So if you want to know the cast who's in the ballet tonight, that's not tonight, they're going tonight or tomorrow night, you scan that because it tells you who's in the ballet, and also it gives you a little synopsis, a little summary of the actual ballet, so you know the storyline. Because you used to walk in and give you one, they actually want you to buy one of those over-expensive brochures, you know what. But we're not going to do that unless you want to have a It's because they were built for ladies in long dresses. Because back in the 70s, when we opened the opera house, we were much more formal. And went to ballet and opera, ladies would wear long dresses and men would wear black tie. But that was the 70s. Now we're so casual, and because we have so many visitors who don't have formal dress with them, we actually do not have a dress code anymore. We just say to people, as long as you've got clothes on, it's because I was at an opera recently, and the man next to me had shorts on, and thongs or flip-flops or jangles, whatever you want to call them. And I was quite horrified really because I thought, what's the problem with the colour? He's dressed up. He could have been good. Now we're going outside, look at this. Now the three buildings, Continental and Big Long Restaurant, are all joined underneath and not on top, because you don't want 6,000 people coming in all at the same time. So the buildings are quite separate. And as you'll see when we show the video, that Unort's one of the two major theatres to be side by side. Make sure that we got a view of the harbour, which we're going to be seeing soon. Now where we are here at the moment Boys in the opera house called this the cleavage. I don't call it that, of course. You can't see it. It's a great place to see one of the two important materials. This one is our ceramic tiles. Now, the architect around the world to find these, went to Japan, to Europe, to the States, ended up crossing the water over to Sweden. Okay? Now, bridge over. There's ceramic tiles is over 1 million of them. Okay? They're made in slabs or chevrons, so you can get that curvature as well. The best thing about these ceramic tiles, they've got a special glaze on it, which means when it rains, it washes the building for you. This is a self-cleaning building. Love it, my bathroom. Isn't it fabulous? And you notice there's no gutters. Water comes down here on the waterfall, between these cracks of the granite slab and out to the harbour. It's their drainage system. Now right at the top of all the sail you see a handrail. Not just used for maintenance, but actually for lightning rod. Because we get rid of the switches. That's a protects the building from lightning. And when we discovered that the building was built mainly in the 1960s, supposed to take 4 years, it took 16. It was supposed to cost $7 million, it cost $102 million. But the worst thing that happened is they had to change the government. You know what happens when you get politics involved? It gets kind of messy. They looked around and who can we blame for this fiasco? Because people were complaining it was taking too long. And so they blamed the architect. So he went back to Denmark, never ever to return. Very sad story. So the building you're looking at today is only the outside of the building is Sean Lutzens. The inside is Peter Hall and his team. Two separate teams of architects, two separate buildings, not even joined together. Let's go and take some photos out here. Here we go to the theatre. There's windows to hold on to your front. Because of the heat here. But I love the way that it's installed the glass on a 45-degree angle. Not just so you take the photo today. See if you look out. And then in the round, the seats go right round. timber. You need wood to get good sound. The wood on the floor and the walls is called brush box. It's one of our 350 gum trees, eucalyptus trees, native to Australia. Very hard wood. Wood on the ceiling with all those lovely waves and curves, and the seats we're sitting on is a soft wood called white birch. So you need a combination of hard and soft wood to get good sound in the acoustic. So we get two acoustic engineers come up from Germany, and they improve our acoustics. We used to have these rings that look like pyramids, but they could only go up and down, whereas these engineers said, no wonder the orchestra can't hear themselves very well. What do you think of this? From the platform right up to the crowd. You know, sound waves take about 2 seconds to leave there, go up to the top and back down again. It means your orchestra can't hear themselves instantly or simultaneously. So we had these rings, which were all right, but they weren't great. So we got rid of the rings, as I call them, donuts, because they look like donuts. And we brought in the Pringle chips. We call these Pringle chips because they look like Pringle chips. They're actually sound reflectors too. But these are great because you can change the direction. So if it's jazz, they want it different from classical. Rock music wants it different. All sorts of things want different acoustics. So they can request what type of acoustic they want. Okay? And most performers know a lot about acoustics, okay? Because they play all over the world. So that was a big thing. They also, if you look at the front of the boxes, they've got lovely curves in them. You're going to feel those curves. They're actually specially made for the acoustics with the sound, and they're actually based on middle C on the piano. Okay? Now, so there was a lot done for acoustics, but we also did another thing. We lowered the platform. It used to be much higher, and I remember coming to a concert here back in the 80s, and all I could see, I was on the front row, all I could see were the shoes of the orchestra. Pretty boring, really. So they lowered it so that you can see the whole orchestra. But best of all, they're called electronic risers. That means the platform can be rising up different levels. So the parts of the orchestra are all different places. They can see themselves and hear themselves. More importantly, so can their lovely audience see and hear themselves. So that's made a big difference. On the back wall, behind the actual Pringle chips, as I call it, you'll see a big organ. The biggest one of its type in the world. It's called a mechanical tracker organ. Now, you usually can see 138 pipes, but there's over 10,000 pipes. That's because it goes back 8 metres, 26 feet, 3 stories high at the back, and you can actually walk amongst the pipes. Seriously, can't talk. It took 10 years to build and design by a local man called Ronald Sharp, which I think is cute, because the Sharp's in music, right? And it was played yesterday. So it does get played quite a lot. But this is the home for the Sydney Symphony Orchestra, the Australian Chamber Orchestra, and the Philharmonic Choir. And of course we have so many thousands of other performers coming here as well. It's a great theatre with great acoustics. And every orchestra that's played here since said, what a difference it's made. It's fantastic. We love it. And we love it too. Okay, let's go. Because nobody would hire him after that. Also, even with Peter Paul, they didn't hire him after this year. They called this a fiasco, this building. Kiss of death, they called it. Anyway, 30 years later, in 1995, a representative from the Premier's Department flew over to Denmark, said, please, Mr. Oxton, we need your help. We want you to do what they called the design principles for the future, and also about the maintenance, because he understood about the maintenance as well. So it's a bit like a strategic plan if you're in business. Okay, so he said, okay, I will, but only on the proviso I physically don't come. I'm 81. I hate travelling. I don't like aeroplanes. Denmark is a heck of a long way from Sydney. Luckily in his family, one of his sons is also an architect. So Jørn the father and Jan the son, Jørn and Jan, have done the design principle, and Jan the son comes out to oversee things. So any changes we make, before we make them, we have to get their approval. They come up, he comes out, and also after we've done things, they come out as well. So the best thing of the story, I think, in some ways, we actually got World Heritage listing, UNESCO World Heritage listing, which is unusual for a modern building, because most heritage listing buildings are old, okay? So he was still alive when that happened, so he was absolutely thrilled. So he died a happy man at the age of 90. So the story's got a happy ending, which I love stories with happy endings. I don't like them when they're sad. So if you have an argument, a fight or discussion today that's not very nice, Don't forget to kiss and make up before you go to bed tonight. Just wait. Is it pink?
The seats.
It is very tactile, isn't it? So walking along, you can actually see up close and personal those big concrete ribs. And further along, if you look up, you can see. On the bottom and the receivers on the top. Okay? Just don't forget quite first. Thank you. Super.